What happens when a nation's economy crumbles before its people's eyes? On December 29th, Tehran's Grand Bazaar turned into a scene of chaos. Merchants in the Sayed Valley shoe market led the charge, closing their shops in protest against Iran's worsening economic crisis. The anger spread like wildfire, reaching the fabric market, with chants of "close down" echoing in the air. The rial has hit historic lows. Public outrage is spilling into the streets, and strikes are shaking the foundations of the regime's collapsing economy. But that's not all. Widespread power outages have plunged cities into darkness. Shops are shuttered and families are left without light or heat.
Iran has some of the biggest reserves of natural gas and crude oil in the world, but the government is rationing electricity and telling citizens to do the same. We look at how the power blackouts are affecting businesses and what's behind the shortages.
The frustration is understandable. How could anyone cope with an economy this broken? Iran's currency has fallen off a cliff, losing 40% of its value in just a year. Since 2012, GDP per capita has dropped by 45%. Years of mismanagement have left the energy sector in ruins. Factories are barely functional, running at only 41% capacity, while food supplies are on the brink. Even basics like chicken and meat are becoming luxuries. As if domestic crises weren't enough, Iran now faces a renewed challenge from the United States. Donald Trump, preparing for a second term, has promised to revive the maximum pressure campaign. His plan? Harsher sanctions.
I'm not looking to hurt Iran. They wanted to make a deal. Because I told China, if you buy 1 barrel of oil, one, you're not ever doing business in the United States again. They said, we'll pass to Iran. They passed. Nobody was buying from
Are you
Iran.
going to bring this back, the strategy back with Iran?
Different strategies. It all depends. Very fertile mind, different strategies. But they're very close to having a nuclear weapon. You have to understand, I didn't want much. All I wanted is you can never have a nuclear weapon. I didn't want much. I wanted Iran to be very successful. I just don't want them to have a nuclear weapon.
Right.
Because that's the real threat. The real threat isn't global warming. The real threat is nuclear warming. Okay? That's the real warming. Because, I'm the one that rebuilt our military. I rebuilt the whole military. And part of what I rebuilt is the nuclear. And I hated to do it, but we had to because China has it, Russia has it, et cetera.
And even the possibility of military action to stop Iran's nuclear ambitions.
What do you think about Iran? Would you hit Iran? And he goes, as long as they don't hit the nuclear stuff. That's the thing you want to hit, right? I said, I think he's got that one wrong. Isn't that what you're supposed to hit? I mean, it's the biggest risk we have. Nuclear weapons, the power of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt the entire military, jets, everything. I built it, including nuclear, and I hated to build the nuclear, but I got to know firsthand the power of that stuff. And I'll tell you what, we have to be totally prepared. We have to be absolutely prepared. But when they asked him that question, the answer should have been, hit the nuclear first and worry about the rest later.
Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has admitted the pressure is mounting. We are ready to negotiate without delay, he said, but added a defiant warning Iran's nuclear program can withstand any restrictions. Trump, however, remains unyielding, signaling no room for compromise. As Clifford May gave us a glimpse of what to expect.
Myself, I would like to see that the U.S. could knock out the Islamic Republic's nuclear weapons facilities in about 24 hours. They would do it with aircraft coming from Missouri. Wouldn't take long, wouldn't be hard. It would be a huge transformation that Trump could bring. Now, if he doesn't want to do it himself or all by himself, he could back the Israelis, say, can you take this job? We'll give you some help. My guess is the Israelis would say, thanks for the help. Yeah, we will do it. Without U.S. help, could the Israelis do it? It's more controversial, probably, but not. It would probably take a few weeks for them to do all the damage. I'm not sure they have the weapons and planes, but with the U.S. help, they could do it again, or Trump could do it on his own and transform the global environment.
The cracks in Iran's influence are becoming impossible to ignore. The 2020 killing of General Qasem Soleimani, ordered by Trump, marked the start of Tehran's declining dominance. Proxies like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza are weaker than ever. Israeli airstrikes have torn through Iran's air defenses, leaving Tehran increasingly isolated. The December 2024 collapse of the Assad regime in Syria, once a critical ally, delivered another crushing blow. Syria's fall has eroded what was left of Iran's regional power. Adding to the regime's troubles, Iran's youth are rising. Inspired by outside influences, including Netanyahu's messages, young Iranians are calling for change. They see a future without the oppressive grip of the Islamic Republic. As Trump's administration takes shape, Tehran's leaders are running out of time. The regime faces a stark choice: adapt or collapse under the weight of its failures. For ordinary Iranians, the stakes couldn't be higher. Every protest, every blackout, every shattered shop tells the story of a nation on the brink. Is this the last chapter of the Islamic Republic, or can it find a way to cling to power against the odds? The world watches as protests grow louder and international pressure mounts. Iran's future hangs by a thread, and the next few months could determine whether the regime survives or fades into history. This version incorporates hooks, makes the language more direct, and keeps the pace engaging. Let me know if you need further tweaks.